Relax. A fairy story by Idara G. Hedmond. It was 7 o'clock in the morning. A busy bee was on his way to work when suddenly he heard the word relax from two owls who were having a loud conversation. It sounded nice to his ears and felt good somehow. That word is not common at the honeycomb where I do business, he said. Is it a new business idea? He looked at the two owls, and they were very happy and completely at ease. Such a display of good humor had never occurred in the honeycomb, where everyone is always an expert at being very busy. I need to know the meaning of that word, he told himself. If it is a great business idea, it would be wise to invest money in it. The busy bee stopped by the sidewalk bench and greeted the owls. Good morning, sir. Good morning, madam. I'm sorry for intruding. Please, what is the meaning of the word relax? But the two owls did not reply. Instead, they leaned on each other, closed their eyes, and fell asleep. The busy bee stood there like a confused stockbroker, holding his briefcase, staring at the two owls as they snored. It was indeed fascinating to him. He wondered how they did that and whether it was possible for him to do the same. So he sat beside them and leaned on his briefcase, the same way the two owls leaned on each other. Then he closed his eyes as they did and tried to fake a little snore. But in the process, a sudden sleep came upon him, and he found himself at the bank of a river. He looked around, and his briefcase was right there. He looked at his wristwatch, and it was 9 o'clock in the morning. Oh my gosh, he sighed. I should be in the office by now. As he hurried away with his briefcase, he noticed that the two owls were there on the bank of the same river. This time too, they were having a loud conversation, laughing in such a silly manner. And in their loud chat, the busy bee once again heard the word relax, and it caught his attention. He stopped by to say hello and to find out the meaning of that exciting word, which sounded like a great business idea. But as soon as he greeted them, the two owls dived into the river and laughed even louder as the river carried them away. That sure feels good, said the busy bee. I have to try that too. Without a second thought, he dived into the river, and as the current swept him along, he realized he had left his briefcase behind. Oh no, he cried. My briefcase, he sighed. Stop right now and reverse, he commanded the river. I need my briefcase back, he whined. Oh, all my important documents, he exclaimed. $1 billion business report, he screamed. Hey, stop right now, he shouted at the river. But the river said nothing to him. It kept on speeding away and eventually dropped him into a noisy waterfall, where he screamed out loud like a frightened person. Now, he wasn't sure if he was screaming because of his forsaken briefcase, or because of how overwhelming it felt to fall along a waterfall, or because he was worried about whether he'd have a safe landing from such a sudden fall. But to his surprise, he fell into a swimming pool. He was safe. He looked up at the sky, and there was no waterfall. Instead, it was the sun pouring down its bright glow. He looked at his wristwatch, and it was 12 noon. Jesus, he freaked out. My goodness! I have a meeting in the office. He searched for his briefcase, but it was nowhere near the pool. He remembered he had left it at the riverbank, and the stubborn river had refused to stop and reverse so he could retrieve it. My life is over, he cried. I've lost everything, I'm dead. As he was lamenting, he heard some loud laughter. He looked, and behold, it was the two owls again, chatting with each other while trying to construct a kite. Before he could hurry out of the pool, the two owls flew up on their kites into the sky, having their usual loud conversation. Once again, he heard the word relax in their conversation. What is relax? He asked himself, gazing up at the sky, admiring the two owls as they disappeared into the sun's bright glow. Then he found a picture book on the ground titled Leisure Time. He opened it and leafed through it, and there were lots of how to make this and how to do that guidelines in it. The first chapter was all about how to construct a kite and build a paper plane. The second chapter was about how to keep calm and listen to good music or stay calm and forget about all the bills you haven't paid yet. The third chapter was about how to do another fantastic thing, and so were the fourth and the rest of the chapters of the book. He decided to build a paper plane. A plane will be faster than a kite, he assured himself. I have to reach the owls as quickly as possible. They need to tell me the meaning of the word relax. He entered his paper plane and flew up into the skies, following the instructions he found in the picture book. But the plane was not as fast as he expected. The busy bee feared he would not be able to reach the two owls with such slow acceleration. So he skipped from instruction number 7 to instruction number 11, and the plane became very fast, accelerating beyond his control. I will crash, he cried. Somebody help me, he screamed. Don't panic, you will not crash, said a pretty butterfly. That is why I'm planting all these flowers in the sky. A garden of flowers in the sky amazed the busy bee. As he admired the flowers and inhaled their fragrances, the paper plane slowed down. Hours later, the paper plane flew gently through the window of a beautiful house. In the hall of that house, he saw the two happy owls sitting in front of a wonderful painting, having their usual loud conversation. He stopped by to say hello and to ask them what sort of merry business idea was behind the word relax. But as he got closer, he saw that the painting on the wall was of himself, hugging a briefcase and soundly asleep. It was gorgeous, charming, and full of colors, and the two owls started feeling sleepy as they admired it. They leaned on each other, just as the busy bee leaned on his briefcase in the painting. He couldn't ask them the meaning of the word relax because the two owls had suddenly fallen into a deep sleep, snoring pleasantly. So he sat beside them, admiring a painting of himself and his lost briefcase. "Oh, my briefcase," said the busy bee. "Oranges and mangoes won't taste good anymore until we meet again face to face. And I'll crucify the word romantic if you don't feel pampered by the fact that I'm thinking of you and missing you somehow." He closed his eyes and hugged an imaginary briefcase, trying to snore like the owls beside him. A sudden sleep came over him in the art gallery, and he found himself again sitting on a sidewalk bench in the busy street of a busy town. He was surrounded by a crowd of neighbors who were busy taking pictures and selfies with him, amazed to see a busy bee sleeping on a sidewalk bench of a busy street since morning. He yawned and looked at his wristwatch, and it was 8 p.m. He searched around him, and his briefcase was there beside him. He was still in his suit, shoes, and tie, just as he was at sunrise on his way to work. But the two owls weren't there. Perhaps, as night was drawing near, they flew away to have more leisure time and loud conversations among the stars. His clients and associates came forward through the crowd and gave him a hug. "We saw you in the news," they said. "Sorry, we would have been here earlier, but you know, the traffic in this town, it's a nightmare. What happened to you, and why have you been sleeping on the roadside since morning?" "Relax," the busy bee replied. "How do you mean?" a crowd of neighbors asked him. "What is that word?" asked his fellow busy bees. "Close your eyes," he replied. "Make sure you have someone to lean on, and then start snoring." They were amused because closing one's eyes and snoring seemed a primitive way of life, not modern at all for the smart citizens of a scientific busy town. But in order to investigate what had truly happened to the busy bee, they did as he instructed. And a calm, blissful sleep came over everyone. and the busy street of a busy town became very quiet and relaxed, breathing a sigh of sweet relief.
Oh, take some time to relax your mind. For peace of mind is a mental wine. You are your pet. Enjoy your days. Don't decorate your life with stress. Dreams are hers, they're good indeed. Please go to bed and fall asleep. Have sweet dreams from time to time. For peace of mind is a mental wine.
Please subscribe.